Hello and welcome to the first podcast of the Terrapins in a Box podcast. This is part of it's the name of the brand. My friend Fionn's looking at me like I'm an absolute fucking idiot. It's the name of the brand. Essentially, when I'm making a production or I'm making an animation or whatever, and that takes forever, I can put something out so people don't freak out and go, "Why is he not uploading?" and so that YouTube doesn't go, "Fuck you."
YouTube will do that anyway.
YouTube will do that anyway because I'm not gonna, because of COPA and everything now. COPA's gonna fuck me like a nobody's business. But we're just gonna shoot the shit with topics, and it's the first podcast. I was meant to start this a year ago, and my first topic was most anticipated blank of 2019. So we're gonna do the reverse. We're gonna talk about 2019 and what we liked and what we were disappointed by and what we didn't like. Fionn's hearing this topic for the first time right now. My name's Kyle. I didn't introduce myself. This podcast's going great. So we'll start with games because Fionn is also a Game Boy.
Don't do that to me.
I'm gonna do it. No, I'm gonna do that to you. You're a gamer. If I said film, you'd be like,
Well, I have more to say about films and games because 2019 for me was sitting in a room reading plenty of books on
AR.
literary thing. Hi, I'm doing a master's degree and I'm regretting it ever since because it means that I have to sit in a room and read stuff.
Hi, I dropped out of secondary school, so there's a bit of a gap.
Yeah, but you're fine.
Yeah, I'm good. We'll start with the games because I think that's the one we can get the most mileage out of.
Well, look,
straight away.
I'm already going to ruin it for you and talk about board games because...
Yeah. What board games came out that you liked?
Well, I got obsessed with Shadowrun last year.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you who don't know, is a tabletop role-playing game which is sort of based on William Gibson's description of cyberpunk. If you know who William Gibson is, if not, think Blade Runner. If you can't think Blade Runner, think Altered Carbon. And if you can't do that anymore, then find one of them and watch it. It's good.
It's D&D with actual lore.
I mean, D&D has lore, it's just that...
it changes all the time.
It's just that, and I'm sorry for any purist D&D players, no one cares about D&D's lore. They just don't.
No, because you buy the 5th edition of D&D and then you look at the 4th edition and it's like, oh, well, the Dragonborn is this. And then in the 5th edition it's like, oh, the Dragonborn is this, but this time the mom fucked a pixie. Oh! And then Cyberpunk is just like, yeah, no, this is... Like, Cyberpunk shit is always like, yeah, this is it. And then you got Shadowrun, which is like, this is the definitive timeline. We will add stuff into it, but we're never going to really remove anything from it because fuck doing that. It's going to complicate way too much bullshit.
I actually have an almanac
in
the corner which dates from I think 1980 to 2060. I think it was 4th edition. So that was fun. But 6th edition got announced to some fanfare and an awful lot of whining. And I've had a chance to play it. I played the beginner's box set when they released that with a couple of friends who were playing 5th edition at the time. And I won't lie, there are a lot of features that are still missing that I'd love to have back. I'm genuinely upset that they released Kill Code, which was an expansion for 5th edition, which talked an awful lot about hacking and technomancy, that they kind of just abandoned immediately when they published 6th edition straight after. So that really sucked, and a lot of that stuff isn't in the new edition. But I don't know, some of the guys on the Discord, they fell in love with the new edge system, which is, so if you don't know, in Shadowrun you have your usual stats, your strength, your dexterity. They have different names, but the most important thing is at the end you have one stat called edge, which kind of represents your look or your ability to like cheat the odds and stuff, or just how cool you are, depending on how you use it and how strictly you want to read the rulebook. But in 5th edition, edge was used as this kind of spend a point, roll some extra dice, or re-roll a roll you didn't like. In 6th edition, they broke it up an awful lot, and up to the point where they let you use Fate-style plot point stuff.
Bullshit, basically.
Well, yeah.
It's bullshit,
it's brilliant, though, because it just says you spend 5 edge in one go, which is more edge than a lot of characters have, really. And you're allowed to say something to the Game Master and just sort of go, it's gonna happen. And the Game Master, if they let it go, just go, yeah, okay, exactly that happens. But I always wrote it like monkey's paws. One of the guys was like, there's a car in a warehouse, and he was like, right, car is like fuel ignites when I shoot it, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he goes, okay, that car is definitely full of fuel. And I went, well, I mean, it's been shot to shit, you don't know. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna spend 5 points of edge. The car is full of fuel. I was like, okay. So he goes, I'm gonna grab the hostage, I'm gonna run out the door, I'm gonna immediately shoot like put rounds right into
someone.
where the fuel thing is, and it's gonna blow up. And I made him spend the points, and I made him roll the whole shit for damage. But then what was it? The hacker had the door closed, so this petrol bomb basically goes off in a room, and then they close the door with everyone inside. It's horrible. It was amazing.
I think the thing that annoys me about most tabletop games though is that I think it's D&D is I think the biggest culprit of it sometimes though, is it's the illusion of it's anything goes, like it's up to the person. But it's like it's not really though, because they still have to operate within these really strict kind of rules that the game has. It's like I prefer homebrew shit. Sorry, third time's a charm on that one. I prefer homebrew stuff over like when you're like, oh, I'm gonna stick to specifically the book because I have to do it this way. But it just limits everything. That's why I kind of like Shadowrun. Shadowrun's a bit more honest about, yeah, no, there's rules to this shit. You have to follow them. D&D, you kind of go into it like, oh yeah, no, I can just like when we were playing D&D years ago with the Discord people, the Mold Earth spell, where it's not really like what I was reading from hadn't got the proper definition down. It's just sort of a general, and then you open the spell book that has like the 5-page fucking thesis on Mold Earth and what you can do with Mold Earth and what you can't do with Mold Earth, and that's what pissed me off. Is the fact that you could use a spell one way or interpret the name of a spell and what it does one way, and then for it only to come back and fuck you later on.
I let you away with it.
Yeah, let me away with it because it was more convenient
until like 2 days later.
Because it was more convenient.
Yeah.
It was a month later. It was way later into the game because we played once a week. So it was like it was like a 3 or 4 weeks into it.
But yeah, like the difference being, I think, is that Shadowrun is so like for anyone who's vaguely aware of Shadowrun, you probably know the universe is great, but no one ever wants to play it. And a big reason for that is because it's a huge rulebook. Like it's really complicated.
Fion's got them on his shelf here.
No, like the 5th edition core rulebook that he's pointing at in the corner is nearly like 600 pages of rules.
Fionn has got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
but if you were to
11,
collect,
12, 13 Shadowrun books on that shelf.
But if you were to collect all the books that were ever released for D&D, you'd have about the same amount of books.
No, you'd have more. You'd have an entire library.
Yeah, but like that's not even all of 5th edition. They're mainly like the rules expansions. But
no,
like the core rulebook is nearly 600 pages long. Like, and that's like the minimum, really. You're supposed to know 600 pages worth of rules. It's complicated. So it's just more common in Shadowrun game circles to fudge a whole bunch of rules and just sort of say, well, if we aren't going to use the hacking rules, then the game master can kind of just skip a lot of that section. Whereas in Dungeons and Dragons, you're kind of expected to know all the rules. And the realistic part is, players don't do that. Players don't read their shit.
I quite liked the one we played over the summer actually with the guys. The Haunting of the Hill House, is it? What is it? It's the one the haunted house one. Where you've got the tiles, you build a house as you go.
Betrayal on the House on the Hill. Yeah.
Betrayal on the House on the Hill. I fucking love that game.
One of my favourite board games ever.
No, it's bullshit stupid. It's really fucking funny, but it's the fact that the premise is somewhat better than slightly better than the game itself. If that makes sense, it's a board game that is genuinely different every time.
Well, I mean, until you play it enough to know all the roles.
Well, no, if you see, that's what I'm saying. But the actual the game itself, the layout of the actual board, is different. We had to fuck with that house so much to get the tiles to work. Because some of the tiles are awkwardly shaped, and so you're not actually meant to bring them around. And we had to do it.
Yeah.
And it ended up looking really, really, really fucking stupid.
Yeah, it has all the elements of like procedural generation in a board game. Like
it's good. I liked it. It kind of like. I guess because I was always wondering when how do they do these with board games because I don't play board games a lot. I really want to play them a lot more because I do like them. But it's like when they talk about we're gonna let's say fucking I don't know the name of the company that do this, but the guys that make Subnautica, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna make a Subnautica board game. I was like, how do they do that? And now with a game like that, I'm like, actually no, that's how they do it. They make a game where it's a procedurally generated board, even though Subnautica itself isn't procedurally generated. But it's a procedurally generated board where you just put tiles down as the game goes on, and you add elements to it as it goes. It's sort of like the improvisational board game. You wing it. It'll be fine on the day.
Yeah, I mean, there's that kind of procedural generation wouldn't work for all, or in fact many games.
Yeah,
I don't think. You could probably do something a little bit more interesting with Subnautica than just that. Yeah, because I'm just thinking of. I watch an awful lot of Shut Up and Sit Down, who are a fairly decent YouTube channel and website who recommend board games and have been doing so for the last couple of years. And I apparently share a lot of my game playing habits with Quentin fucking Smith, so that works. But he, a few years ago, did a video on Captain Sonar. Have you ever heard of Captain Sonar?
No.
It's basically a 8-player real-time board game where both teams are separated by a screen. I don't have it, so don't look for it. They're separated by a screen, and there is a captain, a navigator, an engineer, and a comms officer. And it's the captain's job to try to keep everything, to make the plans and make the decisions. The navigator has to have a little map in front of them and a marker, and they have to draw the submarine's path around the map, and they can't go back in over themselves, like a bit like Snake. And the engineer, every single time you move in a certain direction, has to break a part of the submarine, which means that he could break a system that you need to use. And then there's also I think it's the systems officer, the weapons officer, who charges systems every time you move. And then you have the poor comms officer, who I feel so bad for. They have to sit on the opposite end of the table from the captain. They have to, it's part of the rules. And their whole job is to listen to the other team. They also have a map and a marker, and their job is to try and draw the path of the other team on a map, and then fit it somewhere in the level, because each map is specific and has islands and stuff, so there's a limited amount of moves you could make. And it's their job to try find the enemy ship on the map, and then using that information, you have to try and pilot the submarine to them and hit them with mines or torpedoes and blah blah blah. And because it's played in real time, it's just amazing. It's so hectic. And it's really, really funny because you're sitting right opposite each other and you're like kind of trying to say loud enough so it's within the rules of, okay, we want to go right, okay, we want to go left, we want to go north, we want to go east, but at the same time trying to say it loud, say quiet enough so that maybe the comms officer doesn't notice or not. Yeah, it's very funny.
I'm trying to think of what games I played this year now that I really enjoyed. Because I played a few, because I was broke for most of it, so I didn't really play a lot of new stuff, but I would say, and it's weird because the game that I think this time last year I would have said, oh yeah, no, I'm really excited for it, was Kingdom Hearts 3, and it would have been a few weeks away. Not to say that I didn't like it, I loved it, but it was disappointing.
I had a friend who's in love with Final Fantasy and stuff, and
really wanted it.
Had a very similar opinion to Kingdom Hearts. He was kind of saying that it went a bit mad.
It's not that, it's like, I think, because I expected it to go crazy. It's Kingdom Hearts, it's never going to have a simple plot line, it's going to have like, did you play the spin-off of the spin-off? Ooh, well then you'll understand this part.
Stop following.
But it's the Kingdom Hearts 3's biggest issue is like they removed stuff like summons and they replaced them with what are called attraction flow. Essentially, the point I'm going to get at here is
attraction flow.
So essentially, you summon Disneyland rides.
Oh,
it's really like the concept is actually really cool.
No, that's even dumber than I thought it was. I thought it was like a lust meter or something. You walk into a fight and give them a wink,
and then you just attract the heartless. No. You basically everything is built off combos. So when you do enough combos, you can either do a Keyblade transformation, or if you do enough magic combos, you get like this epic fucking spell that destroys everything, or you'll get an attraction flow. The other two of those things are actually very well developed because they're not very hard to develop. They work well. They do what they're meant to do. They're great.
Devil May Cry probably did the best with combos.
But attraction flow doesn't work because it grinds all of that to like a screeching halt. You're either in something like, the only one that I actually like is the teacups.
Right.
I like two of them, but one of them is you can only use it twice in the game. So I can't. It's Big Thunder Mountain. It's a big fucking roller coaster, and it goes around. But it's once it's used for a boss, and once it's used for like towards the end of the game with a big group of enemies, and it's awesome. And I wish you could use it more often because it just doesn't seem like it should only be used.
So are they level specific or?
No. So basically, if the area is big enough, they'll accommodate specific ones.
Oh, so they're just the only areas in the game that are big enough.
So there's just two. Like I feel like there's more areas that are big enough. I think it's just that there has to be enough enemies generated for this to make sense. Essentially, it goes around the track. The first time it's used is against a big stone golem in the Hercules world, so that one does make sense in context. It's a big, cool fucking train that just smashes into a big golem thing. But then the other ones, like there's a Ferris, or not Ferris, but there's like a merry-go-round, but obviously that stays stationary, and it's just a like press X to win type thing. You have to press it at a specific time, but it's still a fucking, what are they called? I can't think of the name of them now. Quick time event. That's it. It's basically a quick time event. The shooter one I don't like. It can move, but it's really slow, and it's not great. I don't like it. It takes all the speed and flow out of the combat. The pirate ship one, I'm a bit easier on. It swings up and down. You can end that one pretty much instantly with its finishing move. So you can just get it and end it. I kind of give it more lenience. And if I haven't,
that's hardly a good thing, though. The best part about this amazing thing that's
it's
the center
handy
of the combat is that I can end it straight away.
No, so the great thing about them is so that the shooter one is terrible in any regard, but all of the other ones are great because they're mainly for when you feel overwhelmed and there's like way too many enemies or whatever. You can get into these things. You kind of get a couple of invincibility frames, and you can take care of a certain amount. Even just dash a lot of their health down, so you can just kind of go off and finish them off. Then it doesn't make it too easy at certain parts of the game because I died in that game a lot. But it doesn't make it ridiculously. They're not ridiculously overpowered because. Oh, I forgot one. There's like a water one. That one's cool. That one you can bounce up and down, and then it goes back the track. The Enchanted Teacups one is great because you've got full movement. So it's full motion and movement, and then you can get them all to smash. There's three teacups, and you can smash together, and they create this ball of fucking energy. I like that. My problem with it is just it feels like these ideas were way too undercooked for them to be put in the game. Like, I don't mind them being there. It's just I think they take the flow and the fun out of the combat when they come up. Because the first one you really use is Big Thunder Mountain, and you're like, oh my god, these are all great. Whoa, this is gonna be the fucking best part of the game. And then you get to the other ones, and you're like, oh no. Like, and I got them in I think I got them in the perfect order. I got the pirate ship, like I think it was first, and I really liked the pirate ship. Like, it is good if you're in a big crowd, but when you're not in a big crowd, I find myself just hitting X to fucking finish it off, and
that's
go ahead.
Removing all the fun of
it.
Didn't they spend this is one of the things Kingdom Hearts 3 really did, opposed to Kingdom Hearts 2, because it's been that long since I've played them. Like trying to make the flow of the main combat more easy. There's less like menuing to get the spells you want. It's just more you just press the button.
Yeah, it's really weird because like as I kept playing the Kingdom Hearts games, I started to love the quick menu. The quick menu is just press R2 and then a little menu comes up and you select whatever you want to put in there.
Yeah.
But in this game they give you 3 quick menus. So you can just put your spells there. So essentially you tap R2 to go between them.
Okay.
But you press it's like R2 press circle then to shoot fire. So instead of going down to magic and then scrolling through to get fire.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
It's actually much better.
Break it up by category.
What's even nicer about it as well is they actually made magic useful. Because the other games is fucking not. Like, it's so basically magic in this game. If you use enough of it, you get a big motherfucker version of the spell. If you haven't unlocked like the space, if you have like water was a new spell they added. That's my favourite one. No, it's really cool.
Water was a new spell.
You can shoot water out of your Keyblade, baby. It's cool. Like, what kind of separates it is that if you have water, then you do the full bar up with water, and then you get water and then if you don't have water and then when you get water it's water raga. If you have water raga, it's like water razan, and you can't unlock water razan.
Yeah, they're stealing from Final Fantasy, basically.
It's the same with the dev team. Yeah. But it's our same publisher, but it's essentially just shoots at a fucking typhoon at people, and it's really cool looking. They look like the game visually looks amazing.
Oh yeah,
but it's Square Enix.
It's Square Enix. Like,
if it was anything, it's Square Enix. I know Pixar worked on a lot of the models as well for that game.
Yeah, but that kind of doesn't matter because Square Enix would put it together in the end. Really.
Yeah.
Like I remember the great Yancey Grosha reviewing one of the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
And he just sort of personified Square Enix as screaming at the player, like, when can we stop making games and make movies? Damn it, we want to just make movies. And to be honest, they'd be great at them.
They've done a few movies.
Okay, movies that don't end up, you know,
bargain bin.
Yeah.
Well, no, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children was good. It's the issue like something like Advent Children is it had to be a sequel to Final Fantasy VII. Like, my issue with a lot of what Square Enix have done in the past with Final Fantasy VII as a franchise, because like each separate game now has become its own little franchise. There's Final Fantasy 13 and that's its own franchise now.
Well, that's an MMO. So.
They all Final Fantasy 12 and 14 are the MMOs.
Oh.
I think 13 is.
I'm sorry.
13 was terrible. I didn't like 13 at all. It got 3 fucking
that
games.
Was Lightning Returns.
That was Lightning. I didn't like that game at all.
I remember that one. Yes.
I hated the combat system in it because it just felt like they were like, we want to go towards more of a Devil May Cry, Kingdom Hearts type combat system.
That was one of the ones where your clothes affected your stats, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really stupid. No, the thing I fucking hated about that game was it was like they wanted to have one combat system, but they decided to put their old one in it slightly, so they were trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And it creates like I hated the combat system. I wish it was just like Kingdom Hearts, where a group of enemies would be there and you'd fight them, and then but you can run past them. But no, you see a group of enemies and you get sucked into a battle room type thing, like in the old games.
Yeah.
But then you're free to run around, but you still have to go through all these menus to do attacks. There's no just basic attack. Yeah, it's all the menu attack shit.
They still have the turn order thing.
No,
playing with.
No, it's
okay.
Think of Kingdom Hearts combat system, but with menus from Final Fantasy VII.
Ew. Okay.
Yeah, but it still works in the sense that you get sucked into a battle room.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's
very MMO-y.
I didn't like it. I liked back to Kingdom Hearts 3. Sorry, because I've so much to get off my chest with this game. I've had no one to talk to you about this.
Square Enix
for a year.
Square Enix, no. you have a very complicated relationship.
I love this. I loved the game, but like I think what it is like I think Kingdom Hearts 2 is still better, but it's because of a few things that just stop it in my mind from getting. I think it's my second favorite game in the franchise, but it's why I'm disappointed is that I like from everything that I've seen, I just expected it to be a bit bigger because they showed what I feel is they showed the best parts of the fucking game off, and that was spoiled for me then, so I didn't get to see those, and then I kind of got stuck with the kind of meh, like Frozen's world. Holy so Frozen's whole fucking world starts off with this stupid maze, alright? And everything looks the same. It's this blue room. There's no Minotaur, no.
Disappointing.
There's a blue room with blue walls and a blue ceiling and a blue floor.
Nice.
And it's very samey in its layout. I understand it's themed perfectly for the movie. But that makes me realise that Frozen 1 has the blandest colour palette of any Disney movie in the last decade. I went to see Frozen 2, they improved it in there, they threw like fucking red into that movie, and I was like, ooh, reds, yellows, it got an nice autumny feel to it, I like that. But Frozen in the Kingdom Hearts 3, like, it's not my least favourite, actually no it is it's my least favourite world, it was terrible. Otherwise, Monsters Inc. is like a big circle, it's like it literally is just a massive donut.
I find it hilarious how
Toy Story.
Hang on. Did Disney own Pixar?
Disney owned Pixar.
Okay. Because I was like, this is all about Disney worlds, right? And then you're talking about,
Monsters Inc.
Monsters Inc. And that's classic Pixar, like.
Yeah, no, Disney. So I can explain. It was always a Disney property.
How did they make their story incomprehensibly complicated with the characters they had to begin with?
So,
which was based off, normal Disney stuff, and then feel the need to add more characters if it wasn't just, well, they're popular in the cinema.
Well, have you ever heard the term elevator pitch? Alright, no, this is actually true, right? So basically what happened was in the 90s Square Enix were getting really worried because they didn't have a game that could compete with Mario 64. They're saying we want to make an RPG with like notable characters, but we can't get Mario. They did do a Mario RPG. They're the ones that made Super Mario RPG. But the guy that makes Kingdom Hearts overheard them talking about this, and someone had mentioned Disney. And at the time in Japan, Disney and Square Enix actually shared the same building. And then he actually walked in. The guy that heard, I can't think of his name. He overheard this. He said he wants to be part of this project. He wants to lead the project, and they allowed him to. He ended up stepping into an elevator with the head of Disney of Japan, and he pitched the game to him there. All right, that is it. But originally Disney wanted a simple story. So Disney wanted Donald Duck to be the protagonist. He wanted Mickey Mouse. They compromised and created a new character, and they threw all the Final Fantasy characters into it as well. And then they wanted it to be a simple story, but he said it's not going to. He said, I think he's correct. He said that they wanted to create a franchise, so he said it's not going to have a longevity to it if the story doesn't meet the same standards of a Final Fantasy story. It has to. It can keep the theming of a Disney movie, but be told under the goggles of a Final Fantasy story, which worked. The first game, because there's a bit at the end of the first game that they threw into the second game. It was like a concept thing that he was like, this is where Kingdom Hearts may go. And people just liked it, so he threw it into He made that the whole Organization 13 kind of story to Kingdom Hearts 2.
I didn't mind it as it appeared in Kingdom Hearts 2. The thing that drove me mental
was you had to buy the Game Boy game to understand the start of Kingdom Hearts 2.
No, it was just that I even wouldn't mind. It's just the sheer amount of footnotes that feel like they've been tacked on to the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 for every single handheld in the world. Makes me just go, this story is unbelievably complicated. What kind of
happened is at the time the head of Kingdom Hearts' development, he got to work on Final Fantasy Versus 13, which is what is now known as Final Fantasy 15. And that game had a troubled development cycle.
I can tell.
Because it was announced in 2005, and it came out in 2016.
Whoa.
Yeah, see, it's because he didn't want it. So what happened was he created the game, and then it ended up that was set in the Final Fantasy 13 universe, and then he started to slowly shift away from that, and then eventually because it was in active development. Because I remember I was watching a video in 2013 where he's been interviewed about it all, and he was saying Kingdom Hearts 3 and this are in active development. This was before Kingdom Hearts 3 got its first reveal. He didn't want to really work on Kingdom Hearts 3 until he had this game down, which is fair. So that's why we got all the spin-off titles and everything. But he had this all from Kingdom Hearts 2 onwards. He had it all road mapped out, because in the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 you can unlock a little cutscene that is like the ending of Birth by Sleep, which is the PSP title. So because people think it was all just made up as they went along. From Kingdom Hearts 2 there was very much I'd call it a liquid plan, where it was whatever happens, if I get back to this earlier, great, we can get rid of some of this shit, but if I don't get back to this earlier, that's there for you in case. And like
basically it took so long to get back to it, they gamified what would have been all of like the hidden notes.
Well, he didn't think he'd get back to it. I think the best thing about him not getting back to it sooner is that we ended up getting the HD remasters of the games. And a lot of people give out about shit like that, but what I'll say
including me.
Yeah, but what I'll say is it added all the shit that was added into the Japanese editions that were not in the English editions.
Okay. Well,
so that's fair enough, but it also took all the games and bundled them into a box set that you didn't have to buy a billion different consoles for.
Alright, okay.
Also, and then there's again Rechain of Memories, which is the PS2 remake of the Game Boy Advance game. Never released in Europe, so that's there for people now in Europe. They actually put a new kind of like what I'll call, because people complained about when 2.8 got released, and people were like, I was like, that's a ridiculous name. It put the 3DS game onto the consoles, but it also put the story of the MMO as a movie onto it as well.
Okay.
And then the prologue for Kingdom Hearts 3 was on it as well, because that was meant to be part of Kingdom Hearts 3. They just cut it off and sold it separately. But people keep complaining when that game came out, people were like, it's Kingdom Hearts Ground Zeroes, because obviously MGS5 Ground Zeroes came out, and that was like 2 hours long, and it was sold at $60, and it was just the prologue.
I missed that one.
But
that was before MGS5.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that one now.
But I will refute the argument that you're not just getting that, you're getting a movie and a remake of a game, and it's not like because it was a 3DS game. It was put it this way, the Kingdom Hearts remakes, the first remasters, they lost all the files for Kingdom Hearts 1, so the game was remade from the ground up.
Square Enix have a habit of doing that.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 2 wasn't. Birth by Sleep would have been touched up a lot because it was a PSP title, but it was originally for the PS2, so they got a lot of the original files for that and kind of worked out the difference. Chain of Memories wasn't too hard because it was a PS2 title, and then fucking Dream Drop Distance was a DS title, 3DS title. They didn't remake the two other DS titles. They made more cutscenes to fill in the blanks.
Look, you lost me a DS title.
They had two DS titles and people didn't like them. So one of them was called Recoded was shit because it was a mobile title that was remade as a DS title, and then people still didn't like it as a DS title. It had an interesting concept that every world had a different combat style, but just as you got used to the combat style, you went to another world and then had to get used to a whole other one. That's what ruined it. But then and it was also retreading a game that was retreading a game. So Chain of Memories just retreads the plot of the first game, sort of.
Right.
With a couple of twists. And then Recoded retreads the first game and the game that retreads the first game.
Look,
yeah, it's really complicated.
I have a very apparently controversial opinion to what should happen to games when the risk is that they will go into sequelitis, and the answer is to just stop making the game for a while.
Yeah,
it's like Call of Duty. The way they freak out, they have to have a new copy out every
that's
year.
Why I like that.
To the point where they're re-releasing stuff that came out 10 years ago. It's like, just stop making them for a while. Take a breath, make a good one.
What I will say about it though is, so they did them on for the PS3, and this was when the PS4 came out, and then they put them on the PS4 as well. But they put them all bundled together for the PS4 in one fucking box.
Well,
which is nice.
But that's better than most HD remakes, I guess.
What I love about it is though, every game runs at 60 FPS. It's really weird though, because I fucked up so many people on the PS4 because everything that every.
Oh wait, this is on the PS4. Oh, okay.
So every little slight nudge that they got used to, when you're blocking this, this mainly the Sephiroth boss fights when you specifically in the first game. Because blocking was a cunt in that game, but the block in that game, you had to You just press it at a precise moment.
Oh,
but
yeah,
that was at 30 frames. So now the frame count has doubled.
Oh, so it's now. Oh god, that's.
And it's still 1 frame. I've checked.
Only 1 frame.
It's still you still have 1 frame to. So it's basically if you do a perfect block, you get XP for it. And people used to just XP farm on that boss fight. So essentially, if you perfect block, I used to XP. I don't know if anyone else did. I used to do it anyway. I know because I was a fucking maniac. And and I'm gonna try to do it on the PS4 copy of it. It just wouldn't allow me to perform a perfect block. It took me weeks to fucking master this. I spent weeks of my life at this, Fionn. Weeks of my life because I was determined. Okay, I'm gonna get to a game that I really enjoyed because I've been talking about a game that I was disappointed by, and I feel like this will be the controversial topic. It's CTR Nitro Fuel, so Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel.
You see, you have the disadvantage of that I am not plugged into the console game.
So it's on PC as well. I actually know it's not. Fuck, it has to be released on PC.
Yeah.
They will do it.
It would have come out. I think it would have come out on the Xbox with the Game Pass May.
It's not a Game Pass.
No.
No, it's I got it on my Switch.
I don't even pay for the Game Pass. I'm cheapo. I haven't had time.
So basically, it's Activision's remake of
Crash Team Racing.
Crash Team Racing. But where I will separate it from it just being a remake is they added all the Nitro Kart tracks into it as well. All the Nitro Kart characters are in it as well. There's more you can unlock carts, you can customize carts, you can customize characters with skins and stuff. But then they do the Grand Prix and it's every month. It's been every month since June. So there's another one now.
So what you enter?
They add a new. Basically, there's a thing called a Nitro gauge. You get Nitro points for completing tasks and races, and it fills up, and you unlock stuff for doing so.
Right.
They add a new character and a new track. Now, this month they only added 1, but like the first Grand Prix they added 6 new characters.
This is their live service.
Live service, but what kind of makes it nice is that it's not. So like I'm not gonna lie and say you can't pay for this shit with your wallet, but it's actually fully unlockable without putting money into it.
Yeah.
And I have done that. I have done it, and I think it's way more rewarding. You can't actually buy Nitro points to get yourself up the Nitro gauge. Which is nice. You can buy the there's a thing called Wumpa coins, and it's kind of cool. There's a thing called the Pit Shop, and that's what you use to buy characters and skins. Basically, every race you do online, you earn around like 500 of them, and the character's 1,500. So you just need to realistically.
Oh, so you're not
at the like.
It's not Rainbow Six Siege where you'll be playing for a month and then you might have enough to afford one character.
People complain when the microtransactions were implemented for about 2 months. So people were really upset because the game had gotten glistening reviews.
Yeah, partially because it wouldn't have had any microtransactions, and then they added back.
And then they added them in.
That is scummy.
People complained that when the first item that came up was 9,000 Wumpa coins.
Yeah, you see
that came up after that.
Like that's bullshit.
Now, I'll say it's bollocks that people should be complaining about it is that's only 1,000 more than they were previously, so it's not that much of a jump. But for that, you get a character, their skin, their vehicle, you get the tires for that vehicle, you get the paint job and all their stickers. So you get basically, if you add all of it up, it's 1,500 for the character, 2,500 for their skin. Could be 2,500 for the vehicle. Then there's the paint job, which can be anywhere from 500, 750, or 1,000. And then the stickers packs are 250 coins. It kind of adds up to make sense. It's also the way it works is like you earn more Nitro you can earn more Nitro points for like if you have a skin. If you have a character that's relevant to the theme of the Nitro gauge, you get plus 10%.
Right.
And then you use the premium the vehicle that's relevant, and you unlock one anyway from. It's the first tier of the Nitro gauge is the vehicle. You earn it in your first race.
Right. Okay.
Is a new vehicle. You can then earn the tires. Now most of the shit you have already qualifies. They leave 1 or 2 items that you will have that qualify for the plus whatever. Using decals on that vehicle, you get extra. It all ends up like the new character this month is called Mega Mix, which is like a fusion of Cortex, Tiny the Tiger, and Dingo Dial, and it's basically they've so what's happened is they're
starting to run out of characters.
They've added Crash characters in from like they did a Spyro one where they add Spyro characters as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
But they did they looked at the racing girls was the first one. So they're the girls that do like they wave the umbrellas at the end of all the races and stuff. It's Tana Bandicoot and stuff, his original girlfriend and shit. And then the second one was like a prehistoric theme, so it was like the dinosaur from Crash 3 and then Baby Crash, Baby Coco. Yeah. The third, yeah.
So does this work like
you don't pay for the
who introduced the the battle pass sort of thing.
Kinda.
When the season ends, the awards you haven't gotten sort of just disappear into the ether.
No, they come back in 2 months.
Oh, so it's a repeat.
Like, to put it this way, in October, they repeat no characters. So in October, the characters that went at the moment, if you didn't unlock any characters in October, they have now been re-entered into the pit shop on the random circle. So it's like a random, every 24 hours it'll refresh, or if you buy an item, it'll automatically refresh. Right. So if I buy a character, it'll refresh to a new character, and then I can unlock that new character. But if I missed a character in October now, they're there.
Okay.
They're in the cycle. It's confusing.
No, it's not too confusing. The problem is you're talking to someone who hates all of this, and I'm sitting here like, okay, so they moved it from one trap of you basically need to play this a lot so that you can get them all before they go away, to now we're going to put them on a timed...
It's really hard not to, though, because one of them is automatically unlocked. So you realistically, at the moment, there's no new characters to be bought in the shop. You unlock the new one. Yeah. Because there's only one character. But they add new tracks. They're basically what's happened is they've run out of characters that are very well known. So they're picking there's a character that I got added from a Crash mobile game. I think the funniest one at the moment is this character he's called Hasty. He's a moose, or he's a deer, and I can't really tell, to be honest. Nobody knew who he was, but it turns out that it was like one of those sort of what was the character in Mortal Kombat that was a rumor? It was like smoke or toxin.
Oh, it was the opposite of Sub-Zero.
Yeah, but basically it was a rumor character that just didn't exist, and then they threw him in as a joke. This was what he was. They've added in characters from the post Naughty Dog stuff, so Nina, Cortex and stuff. Yeah, which is nice. I like the fact that they're not ignoring the fact that there was Crash games post Naughty Dog leaving. They kind of did it off the get go. They added all the Nitro characters in as standard. But you can even earn 1 coins to buy these characters by playing the campaign. Yeah, I think it's the best version of this system because it doesn't tell you.
The best version of this system is much more like Team Fortress, despite the fact Team Fortress had loot boxes before loot boxes were loot boxes. But you just update and give people things. I get that's not how businesses work, but if they want to do the live service thing, that is the model that it was all based on.
Yeah. See,
I still play Team Fortress because of the stupid stuff they added. Did you know the heavy got a banana?
I know, yeah.
He lost a contest, so they gave him a banana. It's one of the best heavy items in the game.
I'm trying to think of other games now that came out this year that I played. Pokemon Sword I played a bit of. I'm not. Do you know what? I
felt so bad.
I feel shit for the developers. Oh my god, they're getting so much shit right now.
Why?
Okay, so
I was just thinking that ever since I saw the Pokemon Sword case, I was thinking of Sif from Dark Souls, and I was having PTSD from killing that poor bastard.
So what it is because it's the first proper Pokemon game on the Switch. I'm not going to count Let's Go. It wasn't. It's not going to transfer over or anything. So Pokemon Sword and Shield removed most of the Pokemon from the national
this was
decks.
What the shit did they call it?
Yeah, people were giving out about it. And then what they announced was they announced the DLC where 200 Pokemon will be added in. Now, you gotta just wait until I defend this, because I'm gonna defend this. Alright? So, that does not mean 200 old Pokemon. There are new Pokemon. So it's not 200 classic Pokemon are being added in. There are new Pokemon amongst the Pokemon that are being added back. The other thing is, this is not new. This is not new. Yeah. It's not. Okay, you got Pokemon, what is it? You got Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and then you got Pokemon Platinum that added in the Pokemon that weren't in Diamond and Pearl. You got Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and then they did Emerald, which added more Pokemon. This is actually a better way of doing it, because it's not a $60 game. It's a $30 expansion. It comes with basically 2 gigantic maps.
Well, look, hang on.
I'm gonna wait until it comes out.
If they're planning on having a less than full price, boxed or not boxed expansion that adds a good chunk of content that they could have just broken up into pieces and sold for a shit ton more with a live service, then
it's a better
go for it, it's fine.
Better option.
World of Warcraft used to do that all the time, and you still have to pay a subscription service to play World of Warcraft.
It's
and
weird.
By today's standards, World of Warcraft looks downright pleasant with the way it did its stuff.
It pisses me off because I feel like DLC has become a dirty word. Where I'm like, DLC can be done correctly and DLC can be done horribly. Horse armor is not good DLC.
But the thing is, if you're talking about it in a way that for people who are old enough, and this is where I feel like a boomer, to remember what expansion packs were,
Man.
then saying DLC feels like microtransactions. Whereas an expansion pack has never stopped feeling like an expansion pack.
Nintendo just started calling their DLCs for single player games expansion passes.
If they're huge, if they're big entire new sections of game, then sure.
There's
what is it? The expansion pack for, just at the top of my head, Oblivion's expansion packs. Like
Shimmering Isles.
The Shimmering Isles expansion pack, which is a whole new world.
You would say the Emerald Isle. That's where we are now.
Shut up. It's been a very long time since I've played any Bethesda game. I've been too busy laughing my ass off.
Man, no, like what annoys me is people are complaining about it. I'm like, okay, but they're adding the amount they're adding to there's 2 new areas they're adding. So there's like the Armor Isles, which is coming out in the summer, and then there's the Crown Tundra, which is coming out at the end of the year. And people are like, oh, they cut out content. I'm like, no, they're coming out, like, if this came out now, I'd be like, okay, no, they cut the content. It's too close to the game's release for them to have come up with DLC, programmed it, but all they've shown at the moment is concept art, which kind of leads me to go, no, this was not made before the game was finished.
I mean, that is very clever.
I'm sorry, it's just not. No, it's bullshit. I can't, because I feel like a company would want to make money. Yeah. Like what's annoying as well is that people, like, they gave the reason why they cut Pokemon from the national decks, and it actually depresses me because...
Is this the size of the card or something?
No, what it was so Nintendo wanted the game out at Christmas this year, and the 2 options were Animal Crossing or Pokemon, and they were going to give one team more people and delay one of the other games. So they allowed the developers to pick, and Pokemon decided to take the more people and have a Christmas release, and Animal Crossing decided to delay till April.
But despite that, they didn't have enough people to finish the decks.
They said, yeah, they basically said that's what it was. It was cut the national decks and delay Animal Crossing. That was the option. Or it was release Animal Crossing very much not finished, and people would be not very happy with it.
Right.
Pokemon, people were going to be happy with it, but people are now not happy with it because they decided that they didn't want to do crunch time.
Yeah.
And that's what annoys me. It's like,
well, like, that's the other half of it. Like, I would rather developers get to go home and spend time with their family on Christmas
Nintendo
than have to work through, well, not on Christmas, but like leading up to the Christmas holidays then.
Nintendo are a company that are notorious for just not allowing crunch time. They will delay, because I think
their president, hilariously looking
Shigeru Miyamoto's famous quote is, a delayed game is a good game, a rushed game is always terrible.
Yeah, it's the same reason CD Projekt Red are getting so much favour for delaying Cyberpunk 2077 from March until September, which is a big pushback. But everyone respects CD Projekt Red for their attention to detail. That they know that that the delay will mean something big.
It was because
even in Nintendo, was it the president? Was it Shigeru Miyamoto who came out on the
He's
E3?
not president. He's just.
I think it was him at the time. Came out and said that he would take a pay cut because of the loss.
No, I know who that was. It wasn't him. He was never president. It was the previous president who are now president of Nintendo. He tragically passed away while he was on the job, but he took a gigantic fucking pay cut.
Yeah. Because of the unexpectedly bad sales, which honestly is.
Yeah, but I like how Nintendo don't blame their developers when their games go to shit.
Yeah.
That's what I prefer about Nintendo to fucking any other dev. I don't like.
The Americans could learn something from them.
It's like in a year where we were all receiving the backlash for, oh yes, Red Dead Redemption 2's team were doing like 1 billion hour weeks and didn't see their families.
It amazing. And then people were like, that's a workplace violation, and they went, oh no, but they volunteered.
But those same motherfuckers are like, I want my 1 million Pokemon in my game. You have. And it's really weird because even to get the Pokemon, like some of the Pokemon back into it, they cut corners and people criticize them for that. Yeah. They took the 3DS models and they used them, and people were like, well, if they could do that, why didn't they do it with all of them? It's like, because they didn't just take the 3DS models, they took the 3DS model wire and they made new fucking decals and detail and everything for those fucking Pokemon. So they basically all they had was a head start. That's all they had.
They only took the animation data. They didn't take the model data.
My favorite thing about it as well is like they're like, oh, the new Pokemon in this game look like Pokemon fan art. And I'm like, Pokemon's like a 20-year-old franchise. So people who are making Pokemon now, when they were 10 years, when they were fans of it when they were kids. And
I mean, I would also like to point out that Pokemon had a phase where its new Pokemon consisted of a French fancy, an ice cream, and a set of keys.
Yeah, like there was one that was literally trash. No, there's one that was called Trubbish.
Yeah, you get like.
I like the new region as well. The new region's based off on the UK, and it's really.
This is the one with the Scottish girl, right? Good. Okay.
It's the Pokemon.
I've just been enjoying the memes. I'm not gonna lie.
I love, but it's really weird because people complain about it. I'm like, just fuck off. People because people don't get that when a dev team or any team are making a game, they care, but they don't care what audience reaction is because it's art.
Well, I mean, there's always a huge divide.
There's
always been a huge divide between audience and devs, particularly ever since the audience have become so fucking rabid.
It's because the internet became the big megaphone for the audience.
Yeah, like I remember speaking to. I remember speaking to your one who works on the Epic stuff, and she was saying that even within her work, she will listen to other developers and other people in the industry more than they'll listen to the audience, because the thing is the audience, there's always a gap of understanding between what has to be done and how it is done and what can be done. The audience see the end products and assume that can happen every time, whereas maybe that end product only worked because of a particular quirk in the system that can't be replicated over and over and over again.
I don't get it. I just hate people sometimes. Like the internet, it's the horrible thing about the internet is that it's made this massive megaphone for people to shout in, and it becomes like this.
The only thing you get to hear is the negative stuff, and because the negative stuff will drive
the shittiest voices shout the fucking loudest.
Yeah, and because people want to listen to drama rather than, hey, the new game came out and
it was good.
All right,
man.
That kind of stuff is brought down. You do a little bit of research into game history as well, and you get it. In early game magazines, no game reviewer, website or otherwise, will give a game a 2 unless it's basically unplayable.
Yeah.
And partially for the reason for that is
IGN 7.8, too much water.
God. Partially for the reason for that is because it's kind of standard in the industry to give games that are functional but not particularly good 5. Which kind of doesn't make sense, because that's, I guess, supposed to be the standard, but if you want it to be good and your job and the purpose of reviewing something is to decide what's good, then why not spread it out a bit more?
A numerical a numerical system doesn't work.
Well, yeah, but of course it doesn't work.
Do you know who Siskel and Ebert were?
How many people do you know will actually read a full review and not just pick one sentence and go
No man, there was these critics. Well, they're dead now. There's these critics called Siskel and Ebert. Roger Ebert. He was a really famous film critic. I think everyone should look at how he reviewed films because they were fucking great. He would review. It was a show he had, so he had a 20-minute slot and he had to review 5 or 6 movies a show. Okay, so basically they were within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was 3 minutes, a minute to synopsis, a minute to say what they thought about it, and a minute to give their final thoughts. And it was done with do I give my 2 thumbs up, a thumb up, a thumb down, or 2 thumbs down? It's very much the rating doesn't matter. You listen to what he said. If you liked what he said and you think I like that in whatever fucking media it is, I'm gonna go see that movie, I'm gonna go play that game, I'm gonna read that book, I'm gonna watch that porn. I don't know. But we need a porn review channel. It'd be fucking funny. No. But
it's part of the reason why I prefer to listen to the likes of Yahtzee Croshaw, because
he doesn't give a numerical system.
He'll take the piss out of all of it. But more importantly, as opposed to an industry and a media where you're always writing about the positives, it's always, this is great because Yahtzee's just pure hatred. Not hatred, but
cynicism.
Pure criticism of everything sort of makes me go, but he didn't criticize this
as much.
And that means it might be okay. It's amazing whenever he comes out with something and he's kind of making jokes about the fact that it's boring, and you're like, oh, but if it's just boring, then maybe the actual gameplay systems aren't that bad. And then there's the odd time where he'll admit he's having trouble critiquing something. I don't know, this character looks bad, and then you kind of go, well, that's it's phrased like criticism, but that's high praise, because it's harder to find things that are bad.
The one review that he did the last year that I watched and I was kind of was the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order one, which is one he didn't really blast that much either.
No,
he mainly focused on the Souls
Yeah, I think he was just pointing out that it's more derivative than it is innovative.
I liked it. I really liked it. I don't like Souls games. I think the reason that it hooked me was that it was a Star Wars game, so I was able to kind of just go to put the fucking Souls combat aside. But what's kind of weird about it is that people complained that it was very linear, was something I kind of read, and I was like, but it's not, because you're given kind of like so many planets, and you're allowed to explore them at your leisure.
Yeah, but if the story pushes you to go through one at a time,
no, like
that's
you can
not linearity.
So like it's sort
or that's not non-linearity.
Because I got the double-ended lightsaber at the start of the game. I'm gonna put it this way, and
so you did it right.
No, so story-wise, you get that maybe halfway through, but it's if you actually explore the planets that you're on,
right.
You can scan the coordinates for the planets that you get later on early, and go to them early, and then do and it doesn't trigger the stories for them because it's not that point in the game yet to do so.
Yeah, but the criticism of linearity comes from narrative. Like in God damn it, Dark Souls! Stop being so influential.
Dark Souls ruined the decade. You heard it here first.
So like in Dark Souls, at the very beginning of the game, you start at the bonfire, and you're kind of vaguely told to go to the top of the tower. You don't have to, and there are ways to get around. Some of them involve glitches, but once you do get to the top of the tower and you get through the gargoyle phase specifically, like every boss area, like the next few boss areas are more or less open to you, or maybe the more or less they're open to you from that point on, and you can choose how you go about them, and doing those it doesn't mess with the narrative. Narratively speaking, that whole area, there's a question mark over the linearity. Like, you could have done any of these, the narrative still works.
Yeah.
Whereas in a game, even if you're able to visit planets early and stuff, but you still have to go to a specific planet to get the plot going, so that you can go back to the planet you just explored to kick the can of the plot down the road. That's not non-linearity in narrative, which is generally what a lot of the people who like non-linearity actually want. Because you can have a non-linear game, it looks a bit like Rust, which is to say, boring.
See, Dark Souls, in my opinion, kind of like it set up the trend for the decade nearly, where people wanted more difficult games, but they wanted them to be very fair. So people were like, yeah, no, we're going to do this. And then Dark Souls 2 came out and was like, no, we're going to make it easy. People were really mad, and Dark Souls 3 came out and were like, oh, okay, it's great. Bloodborne, which is still made from software. I really like Bloodborne. I don't like Dark Souls, but I like Bloodborne, which is very fucking confusing to me.
No, the combat systems are very different between the two, and the theme is very different.
But they're still like, I didn't like Dark Souls because I thought it was just like I hate games that are difficult for the sake of being difficult. You get me? I feel Dark Souls is one of those games that's like, if this game's gonna be hard, because there's no hard games.
Well, you see, the thing is, right, and you're kind of right in that Dark Souls is hard. It is in ways unbelievably hard, especially if you approach it like a normal game. Like, yeah. The kind of there is a sort of way of selecting your difficulty in Dark Souls, and that is to say, pick a character with magic. Because if you have really high magic stats in Dark Souls, then the game mode breaks instantly. Like,
yeah, that's why I played through Dark Souls 1 as a wizard and fucking beat the game no problem.
Yeah, and then you pick like and then like
Archer or something like.
Some of the harder difficulties are just dex-based characters where you aren't able to block anything. You just have to learn your timings, and there's no other way around it.
See,
but like part of that reason is part of the reason Dark Souls was so popular and famous for it is because it got the hardcore mechanic people playing because they like the difficulty, but it also got the narrative people along board because Dark Souls uses its difficulty as part of its story, which is why it's amazing.
Yeah.
As opposed to being Call of Duty, where every single bot on the expert difficulty will throw a grenade with perfect fucking precision, and it's just bullshit. Because because half of Dark Souls is about that kind of horrid defeatist difficulty of survival and progress through this world which is falling apart around the seams. And so it kind of makes sense that the game is so difficult that you'd be like, bollocks to this.
I've always hated, though, like, what I've always hated with Dark Souls is I feel like I have to look up a manual or whatever how to play the game.
I feel that about most RPGs.
And what annoys me is like I would rather play a game and figure it out myself, but Dark Souls is the game I could never wrap my fucking head around really. And I like Bloodborne more. Bloodborne was great because it's as well as like I like playing games like that multiplayer. Like I feel like they're a game that's like best tackled with two people.
Yeah.
But Dark Souls couldn't just put a fucking button on and goes, would you like to play with friends? No, you gotta go get this item and draw on the ground and hope to God your friend is in the same fucking server as you, and then that person can then join your fucking game.
Well, I used the mod to get around all that.
Like,
because I got.
Bloodborne was worse. Bloodborne was you needed to buy an item.
You need to buy the item in Bloodborne
in a shop, in an in-game shop. And it was like soap or something like that. You had to fucking write on the ground, but you can only get this after getting so far into the game.
Yeah.
which I guess that makes sense. Beat the first boss on your own, fine.
Like Dark Souls was similar, but I think you could sequence break your way to the White Souls.
Yeah,
so.
but I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
I hate that shit. I like just because as well as there's certain. So the really weird thing about Bloodborne is there's certain points in the game you can't join in on.
Yeah, but that was the same with Dark Souls. If you ever beat the boss of an area, you could never summon a phantom in to help you.
No, but if you beat a boss, like as in, I could beat a boss in an area, and then but what would happen is my friend would disappear.
Yeah, no, that was the same with Dark Souls.
Yeah,
because if you went,
just let me play the game co-op. It'd be like playing fucking Castle Crashers, and then all of a sudden, all your like other friends disappear off the couch.
But that's like, but again, that's not a mechanics thing that stands. That like that's not just a choice in fuck the player. Again, that's part of it's woven into part of the story in that. You know, the spirits go away when there is no need for them anymore because you have more or less like quenched that part of the world. Like the thing about it is those games, and one of the reasons they're so that I think they deserve the praise they do, is that they're so much more narrative and thematic.
Yeah.
Over mechanics, while still able to bring their narrative through with the mechanics. Like it's like a first-person shooter game set in whenever. Like the mechanics and the narrative are completely separate. That there is the story and then there is the shooting. Whereas in Dark Souls, it weaves the entire thing in together in a way that's very, very difficult, very, very unpleasant at times.
Yeah.
But it is kind of that kind of it emphasizes that whole the hopelessness of the narrative. Like hell, at the end of Dark Souls 1. You get the choice of whether or not to. Oh, by the way, spoilers for a game that came out in 2006 or something.
It's what?
Dark Souls 1.
Dark Souls 1 came out in 2010, I think.
Yeah, see, it's old.
I think I
should have played it by now.
I feel like if I look at the comments in like a week's time, I'll be like, oh, it came out in such a year.
And thank you, I am not a historian.
Why aren't you?
But
you're going for your master's degree, Fionn.
It's not in history, so piss off.
It's in media.
It's in alternate reality games. I can rant about them another day. But at the end of Dark Souls, you're given the choice of killing Gwyn, the father of the First Flame, who kills himself in order to keep the First Flame going, which is like this personification of humanity. And Dark Souls is set in the waning days of humanity when the flame is beginning to die, and all of those who live by the flame are starting to die, and it's going to usher in the era of darkness, which. Dark Souls makes very clear in its introduction narrative that there was peaks and troughs for different people. There was the reign of the dragons. There was the reign of the pestilence, I think, and then there's the reign of the kings. And the era of fire. And it's heavily implied that the era of fire is over now. You've had your chance. You've had your time. You must now die because the era of darkness has yet to come. And that's just another part of the cycle. It's another part of the world. It's this sort of impending doom. But as your character, you fight through everything and you eventually kill Gwyn, and you have the choice of whether or not to rekindle the flame or not. And canonically speaking, because Dark Souls 2 happens after, you choose to rekindle the flame. But when you come back in Dark Souls 2, you're actually in the same area. There's an area that they don't know about. It's some castle. It's fallen apart. It's decrepit. When you get there, if you play Dark Souls 1, it's the Lost City. And you know it because you've been there before. You've fought through this area before. You remember that one bit where that gargoyle comes out of nowhere and cuts your head off because he was a dick. But it looks decrepit and it's falling apart. And then you come back to it again in Dark Souls 3 and it's even worse. And it's this idea of...
It's time.
Yeah, you are winning. Sure, you were rekindling the flame, but it's not helping. You're still going to lose. And by the end of Dark Souls 3, if you fight all the way to the end, everything has been destroyed. You've actually followed this guy. Followed this guy into the painting world through time, where he's destroyed everything. All that's left is sand and dust, and you have to kill him. And then you stand as the only thing left.
I think I think what's really weird though is like but in terms of Dark Souls, realistically, is that the story as well. Nobody plays Dark Souls. Like a lot of people play Dark Souls don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
The most people who play Dark Souls are going, I like the narrative choice. I wonder if I can beat this game with a Guitar Hero controller.
That's true.
Or a dance mat or whatever.
But that's a strength rather than a criticism.
Yeah, it's really weird.
You can see the narrative if you're looking for it, but if you're not, you
just want to play a game. Yeah, it's kind of got that really old time like Atari feel to it, and that's kind of I think that's what makes it really popular. Is it's like Frogger, like you know what I mean? Like Frogger is a game that narratively makes no sense. It's a frog that's trying to cross the road, but if it falls into the water, it dies.
Makes perfect sense. Trying to get back to the pond.
Yeah, but if he falls into the water, he dies. He's a frog.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that expression I gave him. I gave Fionn I gave him the biggest disapproving fucking look
This game
there.
It's
It's yeah, no,
yeah, but it's not Deus Ex where I can't play the new Deus Ex games because they insult me on an intellectual level. Just
do you know what's really weird? I'm waiting for
Alan Jensen died in the Arctic. Okay, please don't bring him back.
I'm waiting for the game equivalent of The Room. I know there is a game of The Room. Like,
is there?
The guys at Sleepy Cabin and Newgrounds partnered together and they made a game based on The Room.
I have to try.
And then, so like, Chris O'Neill made like a Pokemon rendition of The Room theme and everything. But what was really funny is, so like, apparently like a couple of the guys from Newgrounds have got really acquainted with Greg Sestero, who played Mark in the movie. And so the guy who played Mark played it, the girl who played Lisa played it. They don't know if Tommy has played it. I hope he has. And if he hasn't, he has a YouTube channel.
Pointed at him.
He has a YouTube channel.
Does he?
He does. He put up a video that at the start of the year, I think, where an elevator opens and he's inside it and it closes and he goes down somewhere. But it's like from outside the hallway.
What?
So it's really he puts weird shit up there. I don't know if this is out yet, but he made a horror movie recently, and it's called Big Shark. And I really want to go see it because he's become one of those fucking really famous people for being just a twat, but in the most lovable way. He's a lovable idiot. He's not like someone like Joey Essex who's an idiot, but you're like he's thick. He doesn't do anything. Tommy Wiseau's an idiot, but he uses his idiocy for like moments of genius. Like The Room is legitimately like it's funny. I actually think The Room could be a very good movie if you drop every other movie plot in that movie. It's like instead of subplots, he wrote other movie plots and put them all together. Like there's that moment where the mom reveals she has cancer and it's never touched again. It just feels like that could be its own movie.
No, I just genuinely think it's a terrible movie.
But
it manages to push into that shadow.
It is it is a terrible movie, but every plot that is in that movie, every plot thread that's in it, like the one about the young kid doing drugs and shit, they could all be individual movies, and that's the problem that movie had. It's not the only problem that movie had.
It had a lot more problems than just that.
I did not hit her. I did not. It's bullshit.
I'm still baffled by the fact that they put the corrugated iron thing on the roof, and you can clearly see there's no staircase, but they keep just coming out of it.
I really want to see the version of that movie where he wanted the flying car in it.
What?
Tommy Wiseau originally wanted the movie at one point to end. I think it was end, or was a scene in it where he gets into a car. He's a car that flies, but I think it was during the bit where Danny's getting mugged by the drug dealers, where the car flies in the background, and when the guy that was cinematic director or the producer or whatever of the movie is like, why? And he just says, maybe he's vampire.
Oh.
I love Tommy Wiseau. Me and my friend in college came up with this theory, and we it's not even a theory, we think it's just truth at this point. Tommy Wiseau isn't stupid. He does all this on purpose. It's calculated bullshit. It's like Boris Johnson. Apparently Boris Johnson as a child did stupid shit because he knew it would get him more attention.
Oh no, yeah, people have done write-ups on that. Like there's that when
John Oliver covered it.
Apologies for the politicalness, but no, there was a thing where they were the news junket were camping outside the house, and he came out with tea and biscuits, and it was supposed to be goofy party. So people were like, no, what are you talking about?
I'm not answering questions.
It's like,
would you like some tea?
It's like you're aware.
Would you like sugar?
Yeah, it's like you're aware he's dodging questions, right? You're aware he's basically bribing journalists with tea.
That's like the. So it's really weird. That's like the most PG thing.
Bribing someone
horror,
with tea.
but be mind the pun. But it's most PG, way someone's been bribed ever. Yeah, I only caught that as I said it.
PG tips.
PG tip, man. This podcast is not sponsored or affiliated with PG tips, but if they want to sponsor us, we will gladly drink tea while we do this pod.
I drink about a box of Lions a month. Come on, just give it to me. I'll
Lions, yeah. Oh man, Shreddies as well. They're knitted by nannies. Do you remember that ad campaign?
I'm gonna have to pay more for tea when they fucking leave.
Oh.
It's gonna have to get imported from the UK.
Okay, yeah.
Why did you have to do that and redo that?
No, it's a soft Brexit.
How did you slightly inconvenience my life like this?
No, it's gonna be a soft Brexit. So
they haven't negotiated.
No, they have.
No, they haven't.
They have. It's been the deal is done. Deal is done. It's been written, sent, left off. Yeah, they're leaving in 2 months.
No.
Yeah.
It is not.
Yeah.
They did not negotiate a full trade agreement in less than a month.
They have a whole thing done. It's a soft border. It's gonna be a deal Brexit.
No, you talking about the withdrawal agreement?
Yeah, they have to withdraw.
No, that's not.
No, but the part of the withdrawal agreement is Ireland. We are part of the withdrawal agreement. So it's a soft border, which means
No. That's the withdrawal agreement.
No, but what's gonna happen is they're gonna import shit to the north, and the north are gonna send it over.
That's the withdrawal agreement. They haven't done everything else.
Yeah, but that means the import tax isn't gonna change much.
It is things. No, it is. It is. They haven't agreed the tariffs or anything yet. That's not until the end of the year.
It's not gonna be much.
Well, no.
It won't be the end of the year because they're out of the EU in 2 months.
No, it'll keep going to the end of the year.
Yeah. Do you know what's gonna be sad though? I won't live in a world.
Trust me, I've been following this shit way too closely.
I won't ever live in a world now where like I'm an old man and it will come to like Christmas and it'll be his annual tradition. The Prime Minister of the UK has asked the EU for an extension. You know, like I want that to happen.
Just part of the Queen's speech. Just keeps saying that.
I feel like we should just dodge the political bullshit.
I'm sorry. This started as tea. Basically, I would like tea.
Tea,
please.
Lions, Barry's, whoever's out there looking for a sponsor. You could be like brewing tea in an alleyway. Like we'll take.
I'll try it.
Yeah, we'll fuck it.
A box of herbal tea.
That'd be like the weirdest podcast ever. It was what happened. We bought weird tea, man. We also bought a bag of sugar from the guy. We don't think it's sugar anymore, though. No, ask that no one's sponsoring this podcast ever.
You don't have to worry about COPPA anymore.
Don't worry about COPPA. We're totally an adult thing. Do you, like, I was looking at that actually. I was looking at like these creators that. Do you know Don't Hungry I'm Scared got flagged by COPPA?
That doesn't surprise me.
But it got marked for kids.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
at all. But at the
and it hasn't been fixed yet.
Well, they're getting a TV show, so they'll have the money to pay the.
Yeah, it's been funded by Conan. I'm trying to think of what else was going on. Oh yeah, film. What films did you enjoy of 2019?
I haven't.
Let's try to stick to films you went to see in cinema because I feel like because I think you just went to see the one probably.
Yeah,
with
and
me.
I don't. Wait, which one went to see with you?
You went to see Detective Pikachu with me.
Oh yeah.
That was
I was thinking of the other. Okay.
What other one did you go see?
I don't want to talk about that one with a microphone in my face.
Oh, is it a bad movie?
No.
Was it just embarrassing?
Because I don't remember half of it. I was doing something else at the time. Don't worry about it. Yeah, the Pikachu was great.
I actually really enjoyed that movie. Like, it's really because me and you went to see that, and we came out like going, we enjoyed that way more.
I honestly thought it would upset you.
I was like
just hay fever. I was so annoyed.
I thought it was gonna be fucking terrible. I think what's really funny is the fact that there was a mad like fan campaign when Ryan Reynolds originally got cast to get Danny DeVito to voice the character, and Danny DeVito's response to this was amazing.
What did he say?
I don't know what Pikachu is.
Nice.
It's like, I love it. It's like, people are like, well, how did you not know? I was like, he's like in his 80s. He's old, alright? He's a man who went into this decade still kind of having it and coming out like with like really fucking bush. He looks like a mini version of Michael D. Higgins. Like, he looks like smaller Michael D. Higgins. How do you do that? I don't know. But, like, keep going, because this is your movie.
Well,
do you remember most of it at all?
It's been a long time since we've watched it.
It was May.
That's a long time.
It's a long time for you. You're not like a sponge.
I have shit to do.
You're like a goldfish, man.
Hey.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah.
There's a stack of books sitting behind me, which it's scary, and I've had to border through most of it. Anyway,
do you mind if I run down like my favourite scene from that movie?
Go for it.
The bit where he meets, I can't remember any of the characters' names. I don't even remember the actors' names. But I'm just gonna say, I think it's Justice Smith is the name of the dude. So I'm gonna say Justice Smith and Pikachu meet the girl from Paranormal Activity 4, and she instantly sets the tone, because like this is about 20 minutes in, but she sets the tone for this movie where she's like way over the top.
Yeah.
And like, that's the movie, way over the top, but I don't care. All right. It's amazing. Anyone who's not seen Detective Pikachu needs to go see Detective Pikachu. I think
it's genuine. It is very good.
It
was treated like the Sonic movie is now, with how dumb everyone thought it was going to be, and then it actually came out. It turned out to be really good.
Well, there was backlash as well over the designs of the Pokemon. Because people just thought it'd be like a Looney Tunes back in action or Space Jam situation where they just animated them as is.
Animated on top of the film reel. Yeah.
I like the models.
They did well. The acting along with the models is very good.
I like the animation. It looks good.
Yeah.
It's because they actually physically made them. That really helps. People don't understand how much that fucking helps.
Yeah.
It's like why movies like Harry Potter have stood the test of time. Well, they physically made everything that they did in CGI.
Yeah.
The
original Star Wars did that quite a lot as well.
The original Star Wars, like the OG Star Wars movies made everything.
Well, yeah. Well, when they weren't using costumes, yeah.
Like there was a werewolf costume used in the first Star Wars movie.
I love.
In fact,
I love 80s films because they actually the CG wasn't at the point where they could get away with that.
Yeah,
so
no,
they
it's bullshit.
had to go that far. Oh, it's so good.
I feel like if I say I'll top of my favorite movie, you know instantly what it's fucking gonna be.
Well, I'm just gonna have one rant because I'm not a film person. I'm a narrative. I'm a game person. But the one thing that absolutely struck me, because at the time we were watching that, I was still really, really falling for Shadowrun. I was still trying to dig through all of the rule books and collect them all.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in the movie thinking that it has the most cyberpunk aesthetic of any movie that's come out.
Pokemon does though. Pokemon has a really weird
I didn't get it. I was sitting here why am I feeling like a mega corporation is about to come out of nowhere and kidnap someone? Just the neon lighting and the dark alleyways and all the people. It looks amazing.
Pokemon to me is like the perfect fusion between cyberpunk and the Flintstones. Yeah, like you don't get that at first, but you think about it, it is. It's the perfect combination between the Flintstones, because in the Flintstones and shit, there's like, the garbage disposal is full, and then they'd open it up, and there's like a really fat fucking dinosaur, and they're going, I'm full, you know. And then like they've got Fred is a bulldozer operator, I think. He's not.
He's a crane operator.
He's not. It's not a crane operator. He's a construction worker. He breaks rocks. Anyway, but it's they're meant to be like JCBs, and it's like, oh, that's clever. And then you got Pokemon, and it's like moving companies. But what do they use to move shit? Oh yeah, Machamps.
They're huge. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking.
Pikachu's can just generate electricity because they can just generate electricity.
It's cool. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
We've talked about Pokemon twice in this podcast, and we've talked about Shadowrun now twice in this podcast.
Look. My allegiances should be well known before anyone dares suggest I play D&D.
Man,
because
you do play D&D, get fucked. He's also got a D&D manual there as well.
I have a copy of 5th edition because we were all trying to play it, but that was before I found Shadowrun, and I have a copy of the 4th edition beginner set because I had to get you all into playing it somehow.
Yeah.
And then you all switched to 5th.
He's also got a game of Connect 4 there. For any of you filthy casuals.
That was a good birthday.
That's a great... look. When was that, actually?
I also have the latest edition of Vampire the Masquerade, and all of the arguments about that edition are completely justified. I can see why you would think that.
I feel like this podcast is now has a defined listener base now.
Basically, if you like playing RPGs,
if you're a fucking dork, if you're a fucking dork like me and Fionn, then you're gonna love this podcast.
Yeah. But look, I will quickly say the other movie that I actually went to see with someone else was How to Train Your Dragon 3, the new one?
Hidden World, yeah.
I don't know. Animation, that was brilliant.
I
loved.
It's why I'm actually really upset. So the DreamWorks makes those movies.
Yeah.
And they were recently bought out by Universal, and I'm afraid they're going to get dissolved into Illumination now. But it's because DreamWorks is the company that what everyone thinks with Pixar is actually what DreamWorks is.
Yeah.
DreamWorks don't make movies. They make movies for money like any other studio, but their main goal is art, because they've rejected movies that would have been like sure hits. Like they've been shutting down Shrek 5 for years. They've been saying we're not going to do Shrek 5. We know it'll make loads of money.
Oh, but they should though.
But we've no artistic story to tell.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you look at all the spin-offs, but it's like no, they're people who've bought rights to use the licenses and then realised, oh, that doesn't just include airing the thing, that includes making our own shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened. But it's also because they were, for years, because of this practice, they have been failing because they pump. But firstly, animation like that is hard. They were basically an independent studio,
especially to the standard they do it. Like
the first Shrek movie put them in a shit ton of debt. And the first Shrek movie, there was a different voice actor than Mike Myers doing Shrek, and then he died. And then Mike Myers came in and he recorded it in an American accent. So then Mike Myers thought one night, oh no, it'd be brilliant in a Scottish accent.
Right.
and then had to re-record his lines, which cost
so
much more money, and that's why. And like put it this way, Shrek was like in development for years. Like Shrek was a Spielberg movie originally at one point because it was a book. People actually don't realize Shrek is actually based on something.
Never heard of the book.
It was released in 1989.
That's probably why I've never heard of the book.
It's really weird.
It's too recent.
It's not that old. That's what shocks me and a lot of other people.
Yeah, that's probably why I haven't heard of it. It's too recent.
Yeah, no, I've heard mixed to meh reviews of How to Train Your Dragon 3. The animation is good, but it's expected.
I will admit, I was doing something else at the time, so I wasn't. My proper thinky brain wasn't on properly. I can talk about.
Was it your winky brain?
I can talk to you about that after, but. From what the animation was really amazing.
Pretty.
I love that the
It's pretty.
I'm not gonna lie, I hated the plot.
Yeah,
it was the most fucking walked out plot that I could ever read on the back of a fairy tale novel. But towards the beginning, the Matey dance scene that Toothless does with the white dragon.
Yeah,
I love that. That was amazing.
I'm trying to. I went to see Toy Story 4 this year actually. Toy Story 4 is one of those really weird, doesn't need to happen sequels, but I'm kind of glad it exists. I left that cinema and a woman in there, like a middle-aged woman, was crying.
Aww.
No, that movie had a fucking gut punch ending. I feel like I don't want to spoil it because it does. I'm not going to spoil it because it's a movie that you have to experience. It's what's really weird about it is if Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, like if they've all got a toy figuring out its purpose and learning to share that experience with other people, and the second one being about a midlife crisis type movie.
Yeah.
The third one about moving on or about giving up something to have new experiences. The third one is totally, or the fourth one is 100% about moving on, and grief and shit. And it's really weird that's done in a Toy Story movie, but it's not done in the way nobody dies. There's no character dead in the movie, but it's about grief and it's about losing something, about moving on from that and finding your place. And I really liked it, and I actually thought it was fantastic. I want to see a lot of movies. I want to see that fucking shit out. Remember when we were going to see Detective Pikachu and the ad for the X-Men movie came on and I said that's going to be shit and you went, oh, but it's Marvel. I went to see it, Fionn.
I was being sarcastic.
Well, I'm going to tell you this now, right? So I'm gonna fucking explain this plot to this movie, this shit X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix. I actually forgot the name of it last night when I was making a joke about it. So that's how bad this movie is. I can't even remember the title of it half the time, right? So X-Men Dark Phoenix's plot: they go to space. There's a big thing. Jean Grey it all gets sucked into Jean Grey. Blah 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 blah. Aliens. Blah 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 blah. Jean is evil now for some reason. Blah 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 blah. Fight the aliens. Blah 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 blah. Oh, Jean's good. Blah 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 blah. She kamikazes herself to stop the aliens. The end. I actually know there's one brilliant scene in it. So Professor X, he's in a wheelchair.
Yes.
Yeah, she's also got telekinetic powers, but they're more powerful than his. And now as well with this Phoenix shit in it, she's even way more powerful. Uh-huh. And there's a scene where she drags him off his wheelchair and makes him walk up the stairs. But it is clearly an actor who can walk, trying to figure out how someone would be puppet mastered up a set of stairs.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And
didn't they just harness them or something?
I don't know.
I know nothing about film, and I weren't coming about it.
It's really funny. I will show you this scene later. It's fucking brilliant.
But that's the problem. I've never, ever since the superhero craze has kicked off, I've been upset with film just because I hate
No,
that's how 90% of plots feel to me.
You know what? I rebuttal on when people complain about it because I'm like, superhero movies. People say, "Oh, superheroes are all the same." It's like superhero movies now have not stopped becoming weirder and different.
Yeah, but they're just contrived, grimdark versions of their original selves.
No, that's DC. That's not Marvel. DC does that. DC does that scene in fucking Batman v Superman. If you bleed, you will. No, actually, no. Fuck. Yeah, that. Why did you say that name? Why? Why did you? It's David's mom. Martha won't die tonight.
Why have we not spoken about this before or had any kind of conversation?
It's I like how Batman decided Superman was a good guy because they have
the same mom's name.
Yeah. Their mom has the same name. No, I'll put it this way: Thor Ragnarok was an improv comedy set on it was an improv comedy set on a Technicolor planet with Jeff Goldblum as its king.
But it wasn't.
It was.
It was a deadly serious movie.
No, it wasn't. Thor Ragnarok wasn't. The third Thor movie
they
wasn't.
all advertise themselves like they're deadly serious superheroes.
It's because when you because they basically Marvel are really. I've set this trend now for we can't spoil anything in this movie.
That's because they have one of the most annoying fan bases in the world, and I'm not sorry about that. Shut up.
And essentially, they'll airbrush people out of trailers. They'll do all this. Like Civil War, they were trying to hold the reveal of Spider-Man's look and stuff because they'd done this massive deal with Sony, and that came into jeopardy this year. But that's against the point. They didn't want to show the look off of what their version was going to look like and everything like that. So they withheld Spider-Man from trailers until the very last trailer where he appeared for 5 seconds.
Right.
And it was like there was scenes where he was just airbrushed out, and it's kind of funny because they've done it so well because there's a gigantic gap between two characters. And he's just like, you're like, Spider-Man's going in there. There's lots of memes about it. It's like, here we put Spider-Man. They do it really well. They omit characters from these scenes to make sure that nobody knows. They actually, what I think was funny was the directors of Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame were really fed up with Lego and Funko spoiling Avengers movies. So, because obviously they get sent shit to make toys out of.
Goddamn Lego.
To release on the same day or around the time, and they always leak early. Like a massive Avengers 2 plot points got leaked early by Lego. A big plot point of Civil War got leaked by Funko because they made a Funko Pop of it. And then they just sent out fake footage. They shot fake scenes to send to Funko and Lego. And they bought it and they made the toys. And I was like, that's going to be a great scene. And then it wasn't in the movie. At all. I think the one it was like...
It's just a waste of resources.
I loved it. No, they were really strict about it. Like,
did you know there's actually a study to suggest that the whole spoiler culture thing is a joke?
Yeah.
That you enjoy something more if
regardless.
You know how it's going to... No, you will enjoy it more if you know how it's going to end. Because your mind doesn't have to do the narrative processing of what's happening on screen because you know what's going to happen. Now it's just... And then at the end when it happens, you get... the dopamine of the validation effect.
I think what it is as well though, people like experiencing the emotional impact of something without the preparation of it. Like if I were to go give you a horror movie and then write down every word that's going to scare you.
No, it would still get me.
It would still get you.
It would still get me. I'm a pansy.
But it would take away from the kind of surprise that's going to happen.
No,
I think that's it. Like I got 2 things spoiled for me in Avengers Endgame this year as I was going to see the movie. Like how horrible is that? I actually, and it makes it worse. It was a preview.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It was on Facebook.
Was someone walking out of it when you saw
it? No. This was a preview. So this is like the first time anyone in Ireland actually seen the movie. So nobody in this country had seen it. It leaked online. Someone had hacked Marvel and leaked the movie online. And people, so there was this trend going around a couple of years ago, and I thought it was a really funny trend. I thought it was great. It's like it started when The Force Awakens came out. It was like, hey, look at this big Star Wars spoiler, and like the back of a car thing is called the spoiler. So there's a big spoiler that's Star Wars on it. And it was like an Avengers one, and it was like Avengers spoiler, and then I clicked on it, and it was like an Avengers spoiler. It's like, oh, that's gonna be funny. What are they on? And I clicked onto it, and it was like and there was like 2 spoilers under it. And I was like,
you deserve it.
You shithead.
So much, you deserve it. He was trying to protect you and you still fucking...
No, he was trying to get me. He was trying to... The person who put it up was trying to get people to click onto it and go, haha, that's a funny joke.
Or not. Or they were like, I'll put up the spoiler, but they'll only see the meme. But they'll know because of what the meme is.
I don't know. I enjoyed that movie though. Immensely. That wouldn't be my film of the year, strange enough. I wouldn't label Avengers Endgame as a movie. I'd label it as an event. Weirdly enough, because
which is a different way to look at it.
Yeah, I think the thing about it is that Infinity War was the big movie, but I think Endgame is like because if Endgame feels like 3 movies put together, which is and it shouldn't work, but it does. It's entertaining, but I think you'll get a lot out of it if you haven't seen the other movies, but you're gonna get like a way more out of it
if you're caught up on the story. Yeah.
But I think they've earned that. They've earned that with the fact that this is like the 22nd film in the franchise.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it's cool. I thought it was good. There's this brilliant bit at the end where they bring everyone back, and it's like it's a reference to Captain America 2 where the character Falcon just goes Cap, and it like cuts in because everyone's just been brought back. It's like Cap on your left, and all these portals fucking open up. Like all the Doctor Strange people open up portals, and everyone comes through. There's like Asgardian armies coming through. There's the Wakanda army come through. All the wizards come through. All the Ravagers from Guardians of the Galaxy come through. All the characters that were dusted come back. And like I was there both preview and opening night, and I swear to fucking God, because the music is amazing. but
Yeah.
everyone like they don't do it all in one go. They let characters get their own moment to come back, and that's what makes it work. But everyone was like cheering and like yes. But the bit where Spider-Man comes back was fucking amazing because like he had the worst one. He died in someone's arms.
I remember, yeah, he got the big emotional side.
He got the big, but like it was just, and it was like, oh, and everyone was like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, and then the kind of plays that starts like this build up to the Avengers theme, and then you have Captain America, and he just goes Avengers, and then he just kind of says assembled, and everyone's like, yeah, no, because he hadn't said it yet. He said it at the end of Avengers 2, but he said Avengers, and then it just cuts to black, and everyone thought it was a bit of a cheap shot. Because everyone just wanted to hear him say it. It's a really cheesy fucking line.
Yeah.
And no comic book fans don't really like it, but they were just waiting for him to say it. It was just kind of like that, oh, you know, it's an excuse to cheer. I just really liked it. My favourite movie of the year, though, probably would have been... I liked Rocketman a lot. That was probably my favourite movies of the year. I feel like I get a lot more mileage out of my least favourite film of the year, to be honest, which is fucking Last Christmas.
Well, that's just because it's easy to laugh at them, to be honest.
Last Christmas was a fucking horrible movie. It's not even weird. I was on its side for like a lot of the significant... Once the plot twist kicked in, my brain went, that makes no fucking sense. I'm gonna spoil it for anyone who is interested in seeing it. Nobody go see this movie. Nobody go see this movie. Nobody buy this movie. If you're interested, watch it online. It's a piece of shit.
You hear that, director? Fuck you.
No. This is. I'm gonna tell you like basically how I think this movie was made. It was made as a standard Christmas movie with a kind of heartfelt twist in it. And then they saw, oh look, Bohemian Rhapsody worked and it had Queen's music in it, and Rocketman worked and had Elton John's music in it, and then they were like, but Yesterday and Blinded by the Light worked, and that was like a heavily plot centric of Beatles and fucking Springsteen, so they used just that music in their soundtrack, and they did really well. And so they're like, yeah, let's do George Michael, let's fist fuck some George Michael music into this plot, why not? And then so everyone knows the chorus to Last Christmas by Wham. Last Christmas I gave you my heart. Yeah, that's the plot twist. It was the very end of the movie. The boyfriend in the movie dies a year ago, and she had a faulty heart, and he was a perfect match, so she can see him, because it's basically the same plot twist as The Sixth Sense, but 10 times worse, because you can rewatch The Sixth Sense and go, that plot twist makes sense. Everyone ignores the ghost in The Sixth Sense, but in this movie, people acknowledge his existence. Other people.
Wait, they acknowledge that the ghost is there?
Yes.
What?
They say, oh, he's a good-looking guy. Oh, no. And I'm like, there's like, it feels like they reshot some of it to fit the plot twist, but not all of it.
Nice.
And it's weird because they put this, all the trailers and everything put this big emphasis on never before heard George Michael music, but George Michael doesn't sing any of it. We got little excerpts of it for Amelia Clark to sing, and she's a good singer, but I don't want to hear that version of it. I would like to hear George Michael, please. They advertised it as it was going to be like this big musical event that George Michael's music was going to be a very important part of,
but he doesn't sing it,
and it's not important at all. It's really weird because I went to see it with my girlfriend and she linked it, but one of our friends who saw it, or one of my friends who saw it, didn't link the Last Christmas to the plot twist thing, but that was the whole point.
That's really bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They brutally just fist fucked George Michael's music into this movie. Did you hear that, Copa? Fist fucked. This episode is sponsored by the letter F. For fuck you. No, I hated that movie though. I fucking despised it. It's really because like a guy that I worked with, he said that was really good, and he said Frozen 2 was terrible, and I just felt the opposite. I didn't think Frozen 2 was amazing. I was like, Frozen, I wasn't running out going, oh my god, Frozen 2, my life has changed. I was running out going, Frozen 2 was a competent fucking sequel. Last Christmas was a mess. George Michael nearly took off from spinning in his grave so fucking much. Okay? If George Michael doesn't come back and bitch slap the studio for that, I'd be shocked. Oh my god, it was a terrible fucking movie. We're coming up to
I will stop ranting. Are you planning anything? You need to inform the world.
No, it's more so podcast for now. So we podcast whenever. We're not
busy schedules can abide.
Yeah, we're not gonna. I'm not gonna put because I would like Fionn to do most of these with me, if not all of them. If we can get guest people on, it'd be lovely. But More so, it's when I'm free and getting other people to also be free, because adulting is fucking hard.
You hear that, 19-somethings? You're fucked.
Have fun buying a house in Ireland, cooks. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
I have nothing. If anyone cares, has listened to the end and ears pricked when I said alternate reality game, watch Dad on YouTube.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Dad. Beware, I am not part of his quantum bollock, his quantum corner, because dark party forever.
Toxic.
Sorry, I'm promoting an alternate reality game agenda here. I'm sorry.
We're gonna we might do our next podcast on AR games because you're very knowledgeable. But I think that's it. I think that's us, the two nerds who are ranting on the Terrapins in a podcast. That's what I'm gonna call it, Terrapins in a podcast.
Sure.
Do you know what a terrapin is?
You can explain it to me later.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you later. Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
Slán